Here, and it's time to take a look at what's new in Madden NFL 18, powered by Frostbite. First up is game styles. Choose what style best fits you. Now, arcade is to play a more wide-open game filled with big plays. Simulation is an authentic NFL experience. And then competitive, our online head-to-head default where stick skills are king. Looking for an immersive narrative experience? Long Shot is an all-new story mode letting you step into the shoes of NFL hopeful Devin Wade as you guide him on his path to the NFL
started a new job this week, not knowing how I'll go. I've been smashed with crazy hours and day for the time being. I won't be available to bring in and out for at least the next 2 weeks. I guess the only thing I can do is reach out myself once my schedule comes down to management to start the season. Utilize your all-new draft board
and follow along with a real NFL schedule and jump in at any point during the season to try and rewrite history. Finally, grab up to 2 of your friends, combine your ultimate team decks, choose your roles, and take on all comers online in the brand new MUT Squads. Madden NFL 18. It's a Madden for everyone, and Madden like you've never seen it before.
Yeah.
Keep it in there. Just bring it in here. Hey guys, we're live here at One Stop Realty Shop, O.S.R.S.
O.S.R.S, One Stop Realty Shop.
With Stephen Shaw. We're going to do some question and answers as far as mortgages goes today. We also have behind us, if you see on, if you're watching on our YouTube page, One Stop Realty Shop on YouTube, you're going to see the After School Challenge. It's the Madden is what we play for the After School Challenge. Again, we're letting local kids come in, ex-college players, ex-professional players, playing younger kids, playing each other, having a good time, showing that you can have fun doing what you do and work. We always say, be you, do you. But we're going to turn over right now to Steve. I have a couple questions that you see right here. A lot of questions that I hear most of the time from buyers, sellers, people looking to sell their home, people looking to invest in homes, people looking to be contractors, investors. So we put together a list. I just gave him the list so he sees in case I mess up something, but Steve hasn't read any of the questions yet, and we're going to ask him some questions, and we're going to let you guys take out your pens, take out your pencils, open up your ears. If you don't pay attention, you're part of the problem. We're here live. This is what we do all the time. We're educating people. We're going to sit here and let you guys know what you need to do. If you follow these rules and you do the playbook of buying a real estate, again, we have the playbook here at One Stop Realty Shop. If you listen to the rules of the playbook, you make buying a home easier. You make less stress on yourself. You wind up making more money, and it's an easy process. So right now we're going to hit Steve with some questions and see how he answers. We're also going to say hi to everybody in the group.
Hello, everyone.
We're also going to put other stuff, any of the businesses that we see that we know that are watching, we're going to give you guys a shout. And we're going to ask these questions to Steve first, and then we're going to have a live question and answer for you guys. So I'm going to turn it over to Steve. Steve's going to introduce himself, one of the mortgage superheroes here at One Stop Realty Shop. Let Steve take it away.
Ron, thank you so much for having me down here. I'm glad to be on live with you. It's always a pleasure. I love the work you do with the After School Challenge. You know, looking out for today's youth, I think it's very important. I'm glad to be here today. I want to answer some basic questions that anybody has regarding mortgages. I specialize in first-time home buyers. I've been in the business for over 15 years, so there are not too many questions or situations I haven't seen or heard. We're going to try to go over a few basic points today. Try to address some questions that maybe you're afraid to ask and that we can have answered for you now, and I'm going to try to answer them in as clear and concise a way possible so that I alleviate confusion. So, Ron?
Hey, Alexa Simone, Joseph Peter Santangelo, Bob Petrelli, Lisa Jackson, Melissa Gilmartin, Jay De Silva, Joseph Bishara, what's up, man? John Fitz. We'll keep mentioning you guys, but we're going to start with the first question, okay? A lot of times you hear people have these questions, and a lot of people are too afraid to call somebody, A, because they feel they're going to get harassed by those people constantly, B, everybody's a know-it-all, so don't listen to everybody. Educate yourself. Believe what you read. Believe what you go and find out for yourself. All right, so we're going to ask Steve right now. Tell us about mortgages and what they are.
A mortgage is a promise to pay back a loan on a property. That would be the easiest and most concise way to explain it. If you don't have the money to buy a house outright, you go to a lender, and that lender provides some type of financing to enable you to buy that house. The mortgage is the note which enables that lender to record and show that you owe an obligation.
And that's an excellent explanation. Short, sweet, to the point. And this is what we're doing. We're going to go rapidly with the questions because we have quite a few. And we're going to put Steve in the hot seat. He's going to answer it as best he can. If you have any other questions on it afterwards, feel free to DM myself or DM Steve, and we'll sure to get it answered to you in a way that you'll understand it. This is what we do. We're not trying to impress you with words that you don't know. We're not trying to talk circles around you. We're trying to give you facts, and we're trying to give you information. So question number 2 that a lot of people ask is, when I buy a home, do I own it even though I have a mortgage?
In the state of New Jersey, you do own that home. The mortgage is the obligation to repay what you borrowed. That would be the easiest way to explain it. There are certain states where you don't own it, the bank owns it, and you occupy the property. In the state of New Jersey, you own the home.
Excellent. Just so you guys know, we have One Stop Realty Shops YouTube in the background. You see all of our videos, commercials, all the education material. At the same time, we also have, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you're going to see the totally different live thing in the background on the TV. You're going to see what's going to pop up in a second. You're going to see us live with the After School Challenge, Madden 2018, guys. Anybody that thinks they can play Madden, anybody that wants to get their children involved, feel free to send us a video message and get involved in the After School Challenge. It's for the kids. It's for being involved in the community. And guys, remember, #NetU, the After School Challenge, and #O.S.R.S. We're going to go back right now, just before we ask the next question for Steve. We're going back to the YouTube page. Okay, so question number 3. A lot of people don't know the process of buying a mortgage. So if you could explain the process step by step and what you would need to get a mortgage, such as your name, Social Security, and so on.
The first and most important thing is, don't just try to do it yourself. Seek out the advice of somebody that you know and trust, preferably somebody that's local, because this is the most important purchase of your life. It's probably the biggest purchase of your life. Yeah, I realize you can go out and buy a huge luxury boat or something like that and maybe spend more money. But this is the most important purchase of your life.
And it's everybody's goal and what we feel is a necessity. Our home is our castle. That's why so many people have a problem selling their home, because A, there's memories, B, they feel it's worth more to them because there's feeling behind the home.
One of the things that I'll say to a person is, let me help you achieve the dream of home ownership.
Okay.
You know, for some people, it is turning a dream into reality. And that's a big part of what Ron and I do.
Bringing realty to reality.
A lot of times, exactly. A lot of times, people walk around and say, I'll never afford a house. I'll never be able to qualify for a house. I always tell folks, never is a very big and all-encompassing word. And it usually is not true. If you're willing to put in the effort, pretty much anyone can buy a house. So the first thing you want to do is seek out a mortgage professional. Not just some guy you read about somewhere, not just the guy that looks like he's going to get you the cheapest rate. Seek out a professional.
And here we tell you, use the 3 law. You interview 3 different people, 3 lawyers, 3 mortgage guys, I'm a real estate broker owner at One Stop Realty Shop, and I'm telling you to interview at least 3 realtors before you make your decision. Okay? Sorry, Steve.
No, that's an excellent point. I've been doing this for long enough that I feel confident in what I do, and I've certainly obtained a number of reviews, thank you letters, and accolades over the years to basically tell me that I'm doing the right thing for my borrowers. And I think I've gotten enough compliments from colleagues in my business also, which really validates the point. But the first and most important thing is seek out a mortgage professional. If you don't have what we call depth of credit, tell them that up front. Be honest with that professional you're dealing with. If you changed jobs recently, if you went from being self-employed to a W-2 employee, or the other way around, be upfront, because 90% of the problems that occur was something that wasn't disclosed in the interview process initially. My goal when I'm dealing with a client is to try to figure out if there are any issues up front and how we're going to be proactive about dealing with them. It's great 3/4 of the way through the process for everybody to start pointing fingers at everyone else, but it doesn't accomplish anything. Our goal is to get you into a home.
And the more honest you are with us, whether you're listing a house with a realtor, whether you're looking for a mortgage, the more honest you are with us, the better plan we're able to form in order to help you. If you're not giving, if there's something structurally wrong with your house and you're not telling us that, and we sell the house and they find something structurally, guess what? You didn't disclose that to us. You may have not known about it, you may have known about it, but if you know anything that you know about the house, you should disclose to us. Buyer, seller's realtor, any type of issues with your credit or bills or anything that you owe, you know, your investments, you need to be honest and upfront with your mortgage rep, or they can't be honest and upfront with you.
If you co-signed for your cousin's house and he went into foreclosure a year ago and your name was on that deed, tell your mortgage rep that. You know, these are the types of things that if they're not disclosed up front, we're in the information age. You know, banks, lawyers, underwriters, there's information available at the touch of a button. And not saying it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Correct. Hey, Stephanie, how are you? Anybody looking for insurance? Stephanie, I just sent her over my insurance policy. She's taking a look for me. Patrick Fox, what's going on? Hi, Norma. Tommy Fork and PC Richards. Anybody needs anything? Appliances, electronics, TVs, send them over. Go see him, Tommy. All right, everybody go see Tommy Forkin. Marianne, how are you? All Town Realty, Marianne Garland Power, great realtor, nice lady.
Hi, Marianne.
Marianne, meet Steve Shaw. Steve Shaw, meet Marianne. If you guys ever want to contact each other, remember, we support local business. We support other realtors. It's our job, too. We know how hard it is.
Absolutely. There's a lot of business out there, and henceforth a lot of professionals to serve the people who need it.
So when you get pre-qualified, obviously there's steps to the mortgage. What do we need from the buyers in order to give them a pre-qual letter, basically? And how important is a pre-qual letter? What does it really mean? Is it something stamped in stone that you can afford a house? Elaborate on that.
Ron, that's an excellent question, because unfortunately, if you don't pre-qualify a buyer properly, you can end up putting them into a situation that's not going to result in them obtaining a house.
Okay.
For instance, when I interview a person, I make sure to ask them how they derive their income. Is it all base salary? Are you compensated hourly? Do you receive commission? Do you receive bonus? These factors can all go into qualifying somebody for a mortgage. If they just started a job 6 months ago and it's all commission income, that's a lot different situation than somebody that's been compensated as a W-2 employee for the last 2 years receiving a base salary. So the most important thing for myself is to do as thorough a pre-qualification as possible to ensure there's not going to be blips in the process. Because the goal is to make the process go smoothly.
And now you need your name, your social security number,
address,
and
date of birth.
And date of birth. Now, what about, a lot of people always ask, how much money do I have to have in the bank? Or do I have to give my W-2s, my tax returns, my monthly bank statements? Is all that needed for the pre-qualification or for your mortgage application?
As long as you're honest and upfront with your mortgage broker as far as what you have in the bank, what assets, what monetary assets are available to you, and how much you make, you don't necessarily have to grab that before applying for the mortgage.
Okay.
But once you sign the contract, those are amongst the items that you should get over to your mortgage loan originator as soon as possible.
Okay. So now we have, people are always asking, number one question we always get, my credit score is this. What credit score do we actually need okay, for what type of loan, and how high does our credit score even need to be in order to start looking for a home?
So I'm going to answer that question a couple of different ways.
Okay.
There are all different types of mortgages, and in the last few years there has been some product that has come back into play which allows borrowers with quote-unquote lower or no credit to obtain a mortgage. You need a larger down payment, you may need more reserves, but it's available. You know, there are no-doc programs for investors. There are what we call fix and flip and renovation loans. Some of those don't necessarily require a lot of information and documentation, but they may require experience as far as owning a rental home previously. But for your basic purchase, if you've got a score over 500, we can do something for you. There may be, once you're under a 580 credit score on an FHA mortgage, you need a little bit of a larger down payment. If you're a veteran, you don't need any down payment. You know, there's 100% financing available for veterans.
Take advantage of that. You guys served our military, our armed forces. We salute you every day. Thank you for what you do. There's police officer, there's firemen mortgages out there, and vets. You guys don't need a down payment. So take back from your country what you served, and take advantage of what's out there for you. As again, we thank you every single day.
Yes. If you were boots on the ground, you may qualify for more than just a reserve, than just somebody who's in the reserves. However, you both qualify for a 0% down payment mortgage.
And what a lot of you guys don't understand, if you pay attention to what Steve said to you, okay, there's multiple different mortgages out there, okay? Everybody can be a homeowner, everybody, okay? As long as you're honest up front and you fit within the guidelines of a mortgage. Remember, if you have a lesser credit score, you're gonna pay more money, more of a down payment. You're more of a risk, so they want more money up front. Okay, if you have good credit or a first-time home buyer, they want to let people, they're trying to give you the opportunity to only put 3.5% down. But now the interest rates have gone up, so that's one of the questions. What are the interest rates now, and what happens to interest rates when the prices of homes go up or the price of homes go down?
It's a good question. So right now, rates have gone up a little bit. However, we're still pretty close to historic lows. Okay. I mean, we're not looking at the 80s when, you know, rates were 9, 10, 15%, you know, and let's hope we don't go back to that time period. But, you know, we're still in the low mid 4s on, you know, on conventional mortgages. Even jumbo mortgages are still in that area. FHA can go down a little bit lower sometimes. Again, it depends on the person's scenario and what they qualify for. But you brought up an interesting point. Normally, if prices go up on homes, rates go down. Okay. However, supply and demand plays in as a factor.
Correct.
Here in New Jersey, one of the most congested states in the country, and most populous states by size, we are experiencing a shortage in certain areas of available properties. So what we're seeing is people bidding up properties and multiple offers on properties in a very short time after listing. Now, it's not to say that everybody's property is that's going to happen to, but as a general statement, we are seeing in the Monmouth, Middlesex area, down here, Ocean County as well, we're seeing houses going on the market and getting multiple offers right away, and full price offers, not lowball offers.
And what that tells you is whoever listed that property, congratulations, because you put it in the proper price range. Any house is sellable, as we say, as long as it has price, location, condition, marketing, and then the two factors is timing and you. Okay. A lot of people ask Steve, if I can't get a mortgage right away, what are my options?
There are a lot of clients that I've dealt with over the years where it's taken them 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year and a half, because they've been through a bankruptcy, they've been through some type of financial crisis, they never had credit and needed to obtain and build credit. They co-signed for somebody and ended up taking the hit for them not paying their bills, so they had to clean up their obligations. And there are some people who had too much credit who needed to pay down their obligations in order to qualify for the house that they wanted. You can speak to somebody sometimes about renting to own. There are situations such as that. I've had clients who moved back in with family, lived with family for a while, and saved a little money so that they would have it available. You know, sometimes you can also look outside the area that you wanted. For instance, USDA allows for a 0% down payment loan, and there are USDA properties in the state of New Jersey that are available. You would need to pick a specific property and talk to your mortgage professional about that property and see if it qualifies for USDA financing. And again, of course, if you were a veteran, then the option for a 0% down payment exists. So there are a lot of different options to purchase a home. You can also get a gift from a relative towards the down payment.
And how high? What kind of relative actually gift you? What is the max somebody can gift you to buy a property?
In this mortgage currently with these rules, there is no maximum.
Okay.
There is a limit on what we call seller concessions, but that's another matter entirely. That's when you negotiate with the seller to pay some of your closing costs. There's a little bit of a limitation on, I think, 6% on how much they're allowed to contribute towards your closing costs.
And remember, when you're actually asking for your closing costs back, okay, you're paying for it. You're really mortgaging your closing costs. So if you're offering $370 on a property and your closing costs are $8,000, the seller is not really paying for your closing costs. You're going to be mortgaging $378,000, and the seller is only going to take $370. So you're really mortgaging $378, and the seller is taking less of what the offer is in order to help you pay your closing costs.
Some people refer to it as financing their closing costs.
Great.
Not a perfect term for it, but it covers what you're looking to achieve.
Hey, Katie Simone, anybody looking for life insurance? Katie Simone, or as we call her, the Grim Reaper. Jen Moore, anybody looking to redo cabinets? Anybody looking to redo your floors? Furniture, antiques, turn it into you. Look at Jen Moore. Also look at NJ Sell It, their group. Anything you want to sell on there, go into NJ Sell It. Post it on there, from diapers to houses. Put it on NJ Sell It. Hey, Stephanie Brazu, if I'm saying that correctly, I'm sorry. Hey, Belle, what's going on? Anybody looking for personal training? Give Belle Quino's a call. What about renting to purchase? How does that work? Good. We'll stop and take a question from the audience. We're going to do it at the end, but we'll do it now. How does renting to own work?
Renting to own is a little more involved. You have to have a seller that agrees to rent the property to you. A certain portion of that rental income can be used towards the down payment. It would also depend on what the market rent is for the area.
Okay. Now, Belle, if there's anything else, if there's anything you didn't answer, if you didn't answer properly, or you didn't understand that, you could ask another question, or you could DM one of us. We'll get back to you with any more information you want for that.
Right.
Hey, Kimberly O'Sullivan, Rich Delfino, what's up, man? How is everything? I see your boy playing football all the time. Get him going. I see you up at Strike Zone. I'm sorry. This is Impact Zone up in Norwood, New Jersey. Check out Dave Palladino, Brian Long's place, Impact Zone in Norwood, New Jersey. Rich is up there all the time. Great facility. The open floor plan there is amazing, guys. And they have everything. Boxing, wrestling, MMA, cardio equipment, and the place is a maze full of what you could do there. You're talking about a real facility. This is a real facility, guys. And people there, Dave Palladino, Brian Long, the trainers there are excellent. Bell, it's been wonderful information. Thanks, guys. Bell, you're welcome. Danny Rodriguez, what's going on, man? How is everything? Nancy Debbie Hayes, how you doing? We're going to go into our next question now. So you see a lot of people have problems with their credit, okay? What do you do if you have problems with your credit? What is there offered out there to help fix your credit? And we have one more question. We'll let you answer that one first.
Sure,
so we
no
don't
problem.
Confuse you.
So one of the things that I brought up before is be honest. Be honest with your mortgage loan originator. If something's on your credit and you know it's yours, don't say to them, I have no idea what that is. Because it's not going to solve the problem. It's about solving the problem. So the most important thing to do would be to go over that report with your mortgage loan originator line by line and try to hit where the problems are. Myself, I've taken classes and I'm a certified FICO professional. And what that has enabled me to do is it gives me some insight on how to help people correct their credit reports. It's not what I do for a living, but it's something that I help folks with and try to educate them on the importance of the credit report and of having trade lines on their credit. There's such a thing as having, people think, well, I don't have any credit cards, I pay everything in cash, I must have great credit. No, you have no credit. You can have bad credit and you can have no credit, and it's sort of the same because the Bureau can't evaluate that you make payments on anything. So it's important to have trade lines. It's important to have a couple of credit cards. If you have a car loan, if you've had a house before, if you're a first-time buyer, then you definitely want to have two to three credit card trade lines, establishing credit, showing payment history, not carrying balances. As far as if you do have problems on your credit report, I've helped a lot of people with problems on their credit report. You can do it yourself, or you can hire a company to do it. There are a lot of companies out there doing it. There are not as many companies out there doing it well. I'm not going to endorse anybody right now. If you're interested in that, direct message me. I'll be glad to help you. I'll be glad to look at it first, because it may be something as simple as photocopying some documents and scanning them over to either Experian, TransUnion, or Equifax with an explanation letter and proof showing it's not yours. Please delete this from my credit report, and it's done in 30 to 60 days.
And also, guys, a lot of people out there, a lot of people are lazy, a lot of people are forgetful, and they push things to the side. It could be something that's $25 or $50, something you would laugh at the payment, hurting your credit score. And once we look it over for you, we could give you the proper guidance on what to do, what you need to pay off, and to get your credit score going. Again, we're looking at you as a possible buyer. The more people we get and turn them into buyers, okay, because everybody's a buyer, the more business we make, the more clients we get, the more happy and more educated you are. So if you let us have the opportunity to help you and show you what you can fix, what's not fixable, and to be honest with you of a realistic time of what it's going to take you to fix your credit and buy a house. Okay. We also want to say, let's go check over here. Nancy Debbie Hayes, Phoenix Shaw Hampton, congratulations on your win yesterday against Mike Bro on the After School Challenge. Brandon Hall, B. Hall 1010. Heathcliff Leonore, contractor, investor. Heathcliff, I'm seeing you tomorrow. Haven't seen him since college. We're going to get together. Investor, real estate broker.
Awesome.
He's out here listening. I told him earlier, you know, we're going to have a live guy in there. Any questions you guys have, feel free. Faye Bannock. Those guys, check them out too. Bannock, the Bannock contractors. If you want to put it up, Faye, put it up. The name of the company, but Great builders up at Scotch Plains, Westfield area, Mike Bannock, Linden area, Rollway. Give these guys a call. Stacy, Audrey, how you doing, guys? Victoria, Chris Attillo, checking us out. Vicky's actually working with Steve right now. Vicky, if there's any questions you want to ask Steve publicly, feel free to do it. We're gonna,
you know, it's funny. Just to touch base back, I had a client. I guess it was about 3 or 4 years ago. Had pretty awesome credit, except there was like, I want to say it was like a $61 collection from, it might have been Comcast, Optimum, it was somebody. And I said, if you get that satisfied and taken care of, in a couple of months your scores will jump back up. And he launched into this tirade about how he would never pay those people and blah, 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 blah. And his service was interrupted for a couple of days, and that's why he didn't pay it.
For $65.
So there is such a thing as cutting your nose off to spite your face.
This is true.
Because sometimes if you owe that money and can pay it and it'll go away eventually.
And that's what we say. Cliches are real, guys. We're not making this stuff up. We're telling you stories that have occurred with us. Phoenix, Shaw, Brandon. Hey, what's up, Brandon? You got any questions about real estate? Guys, I want you to check out the Wakanda League. I want you to check out the Supreme Madden League. I want you to check out the Respect 101 League on Madden 2018. These guys have been helping us in the After School Challenge. We're doing great. We thank you for all the time that you guys do. These are some of the best players around. Steve actually walked in on the game with his son the other day. His son was so excited to see it. We're actually going to get him. He's more into the racing cars, so we might have to have me learn a racing car game so I can play him. Hey Vicky, how you doing? But definitely check out the After School Challenge, Madden 2018. Hashtag the After School Challenge. Check out NetU, join NetU. More people are joining. It's going wild right now. It's crazy. Steve's part of NetU.
Yes.
Steve's been getting client after client after client. And again, somebody has an issue. If you work with them, they'll become a client. Let's say, can you explain to us what your FICO score is? People don't understand the 3 different types, and people don't understand what their FICO score is or how it's rated.
Excellent question. You're right. Most people don't understand. So FICO stands for Fair Isaac Corporation. Used to stand for Fair Isaac Company. They changed it a few years ago. It's actually a publicly traded company. It was created by, let's see, it's, I believe it was Earl Isaac and Bill Fair. I might have that changed around years ago, back in the late 50s. And what they were was a mathematician and an engineer, and they compiled a model to use actuary tables and all the facts available to them to determine if somebody would repay money that was lent to them. So they compiled their credit history and their payment history.
I didn't even know that, guys. I know the business part of it, but I didn't even know that. That's great information.
I happen to have learned this one a few years ago, and it's one of those things that a lot of people don't know how important it is. And look, if you have no interest in buying and ever buying a home, if you always pay cash for your cars, if you have no interest in financing anything,
you're lucky.
Fine, you're lucky, and I respect you for that.
Yep.
Now, however, in today's day and age, quite often if you want to purchase something, it goes on a credit card, you receive incentives, you get 0% financing or low interest rates for purchasing cars, you're able to put your money to work for you in other places. Or you're able to purchase a home, which is, I think, everybody's goal, and certainly if you're watching this video, it's probably your goal to buy or refinance your home.
And I hope you have a pen and pad handy, because this is great information that we're giving.
Yes, it is. And the FICO score, to make it easy for you, it's compiled from the 3 major credit bureaus: Experian, Equifax, TransUnion. There's literally billions of credit reports ordered every year. And I can't tell you enough how important it is to prevent identity theft. So be careful about your documents and shredding documents when you're done with certain things, and properly disposing of those documents, and don't just give your social security number any Tom, Dick, and Harry. It's oh so important. And if you are the victim of identity theft, there are solutions for you. You know, and those items, if you're proactive about it, it can be taken care of right away. I was the victim of identity theft twice. Just recently, somebody stole my credit card number. I'm pretty sure how it happened. It was at a business that I went to, which I no longer patronize, and that was the last time I had used that particular credit card. It may not have occurred there. It might have occurred somewhere else. But I got my credit card bill. I looked over it. I saw some transactions that weren't mine. I contacted the company. They removed them and issued me a new credit card and a new number. And years ago, I had another credit card stolen, and I was a victim of about $20,000 worth of fraud that was charged on my report, so I needed a police report for that.
$20,000? You must have bought a villa in Puerto Rico.
No, they opened up some cards under my name. Wow. It was something that fortunately one of the companies I have a credit card with jumped right on, made some phone calls to me and said, there's some pretty crazy charges being made in your name. Are these yours? And we jumped on it right away, and it was all wiped out.
And now, are any of those FICO scores, is any more important than the other? There's 3 of them. Is there any important more than the other?
I'm going to answer that this way. Not every credit card and not every car loan, not every loan, student loan, reports to all 3 bureaus. Okay. When you're trying to build credit, the first thing you want to find out is does the credit card I'm obtaining report to all 3 bureaus? Okay. So neither one is more important than anyone. Some of them, a lot more companies may use Experian than TransUnion. All 3 of them are important because when you're going for a mortgage or when you're applying for a mortgage, they look at your middle FICO score. They go with the average, right in between. They take that score that's in the middle.
And now pay attention to that, guys, because they do the same thing when you're trying to get financing on a car or real estate, median range. We have the price scale of what your house is worth. Vicky asked a question here. Let's see. Hi, Steve. In your opinion, is it easier to get a loan for a foreclosure or a short sale? Or are both the same? Hey, Katie Hernandez, you're watching us on YouTube, One Stop Realty Shop, met you in the After School Challenge. Steve.
Vicki, that's an excellent question. So, the magic quote-unquote buzzword in the last few years has been, I'm going to go get a foreclosure property, I'm going to get a short sale because I'm going to get a great deal. That's not necessarily the case. And probably is not the case. The banks that are listing these properties and agreeing to what they'll accept as a purchase price have more information at their fingertips than any of us do. So they know what's sold in the area. They've had somebody out to inspect the house. And they do market analysis and write-ups and have access to actuarial tables and experts that actually make up these tables that enables them to determine what the house is worth. Exactly. They're going to list that house somewhere in that area. You're not getting a house that's worth $500,000 for $200,000. It's not happening. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. There are quite often when you're buying a bank-owned property, there are a number of defects, and the bank does not want to be responsible for them. They want an as-is sale. They're not, as I tell people, they're not in the business of owning homes. They're in the business of lending money to buy homes. When they're stuck with a house, they want to get rid of it as quickly and painlessly for them, not for you. Correct. As they can. So they're going to list that house and they're going to put that $425,000, $430,000 house and they're going to say $415,000. There may be a little bit of wiggle room there, but the problem is if there's a part of a wall missing somewhere, if there's been copper piping ripped out, if there's an inoperable heating or air conditioning system, that's your problem. The bank is not going to fix it. I recently had somebody that bought a foreclosure property where there was a stove missing. You can't qualify for a conventional mortgage with a stove missing. So he actually had to have a stove, install a stove at his own expense prior to having the appraisal.
Absolutely.
So buyer beware. Buyer beware, caveat emptor truly applies if you're going to look at a foreclosure or short sale property. Can you maybe get something in the area you want for a little bit less? Yes. But if you're looking at a foreclosure property, you want to have an expert like Ron Simone working on your side for you, because he's seen a lot of what's in these houses. He's seen where the problems can be hidden, where there could be a problem under the roof, where the roof wasn't repaired in a number of years, where there's leaks that have been patched, where there's other hidden defects going on.
And you have to understand too, guys, when, as Steve said, supply and demand earlier, okay? A few years ago, everybody was losing their home, okay? And short sales were happening, foreclosures were happening. There was many on the market. So, of course, supply and demand, there was so many, they were able to give you 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar. Now you don't see as many foreclosures and short sales on the market as you did a few years ago. Now the banks are holding off because they weren't able to get the money they wanted. Even though the money's insured, they weren't able to get the money that they wanted. So now they're controlling the market. Remember, banks run everything in the world. Money is considered the biggest power. Everybody needs loans. You can't buy most people can't buy a house cash. So they control this. Now remember, houses that people are losing, people didn't know what to do. A lot of them up and left. And the houses were vacant for years, months. You can't leave a house. A house is constant work. You cannot leave a house to sit there and rot for months and have no maintenance on the property. Okay? Weather will affect your house. You're going to see these houses, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be fixed with these houses, and unless you have the money, or sometimes pay more than what the property's worth to fix it up, then you're really doing nothing. Now they're looking for about 88 cents on the dollar. So you're really only saving about 12%.
There are also times when you start a certain amount of work, that all of a sudden you start pulling up at the walls and you realize, the wiring needs to be replaced.
Exactly.
There's hidden plumbing problems. The floor's rotted out here. So I'm not necessarily saying that you can't get one. Just be warned that you're going to save a little bit of money, maybe, but you may be ending up with pulling your hair out, and which I don't have that much of it, so I can't afford to. But you may end up with more problems than you anticipate.
Exactly. Next question.
And that was a great question, Vicky. Thank you.
Let me see. Jason and Steve's, what's up? Anybody looking for HVAC? Contact Jason and Steve's. Michael Savis, Bistro 1051 in Clark. What's going on, guys? Go check out his restaurant, too. Got great food over there. So here's the question that I see a lot of people doing now. PMI. Give us a brief description of PMI so everybody understands what it is and what loans contain PMI and what loans don't contain PMI.
So everybody hears the word PMI, which stands for private mortgage insurance, and think it's the worst thing in the world. Private mortgage insurance enables you to buy a home with less than 20% debt. That's the easy way to explain what PMI is. If you purchase a home with an FHA mortgage and put less than 10% down on a 30-year fixed FHA mortgage, it's on for the life of the loan.
Okay.
If you buy a home with a conventional mortgage, and again, I'm talking generally. There are specific products which have built-in PMI. That's another discussion for another day. Often you're going to pay a higher interest rate to get that built-in PMI.
You're either going to, in order to get rid of PMI, you're either going to pay a higher interest rate or put more money down. There's loans available for everybody. If you have more to put down and bad credit, there may be something that works for you. They make everything available for people that are poor, middle class, or upper class.
Excellent point. There is a possibility also where you buy a home, put down 5%, end up doing some renovation work to the property. In a little over a year, they want to see that you're paying mortgage on time. If you can apply to that PMI company, most of them want to see you in the home for 2 years, but there are certain circumstances where you could be in the home for 12 months, paying the mortgage on time, and you've done work to the property and increased the value of the property. You apply to that PMI company, they'll have an appraisal done, and if you've got 22% equity, you can have that PMI removed. Okay. On a conventional loan, not on an FHA 30-year fix. You would need to refinance out of that loan, but the same thing could take place if you bought a home with an FHA mortgage, put down 3.5%, did some improvements on the property, were really lucky, and the values jumped up in your area, you could turn around and refinance that property, and if you've got 20% equity, do a conventional mortgage.
And now everybody out there is always questioning what type of down payment, because if you look, people are paying in today's market, guys. If you have a rental property or you're living in a rental property, you see that the numbers are astronomical to rent. Some people are paying way more for rent than what they would pay for a home. And if you're doing that, guess what? You're paying somebody else's bills. A home is a write-off for you on your taxes, and you're paying something off for you, not somebody else. So if you're paying $1,500 to $2,500 to $3,000 a month in rent, and your credit's not great, you can fix that, and you can take that $3,000 or apply it, save some money for a couple months, and put that down on a home so something is going to be yours. Stop thinking that you have no options.
I'll give you something else along with that. Let's say your down payment funds are limited.
Okay.
You can explore the possibility of purchasing a 2, 3, or 4 family home, living in one of the units, and renting out the other ones. Then you're using somebody else paying you to pay your mortgage and maybe put a few extra dollars in your pocket.
That's a great idea also.
I've had a lot of people that didn't think they could qualify for a home, or maybe they only qualified for $120,000 or $150,000. All of a sudden, with the addition of that rental income, they could buy a 2, 3 family property for, say, $250,000.
Nice.
So you're able to afford more house, maybe in an area that you would prefer to live in, and have somebody else pay your mortgage for you.
Let's see what we have here. So we have Gina Crisatello, One Stop Realty Shop Superhero. She's working with Steve and Vicky. Craig Mack. Craig Mack on the After School Challenge. What's up, big boy? Carlos Rodriguez, how you doing, man? Oop, we slid over here. Christine Karolish, how you doing? Carney member there. If you guys need any I want to say tattooed makeup on. Christine just opened up her own business. Go check it out. Check it out on NetU. We posted it up in there. Carl Flows. There they are. Flowdor, kitchens and cabinets. My landlord. Speaking of them, now, what type of loans are out there if somebody wanted to hire Flowdor to redo their kitchen or redo their bathrooms? Are there loans out there from banks that you're taking a second mortgage out to do that? Or, if they wanted to tell their clients, they didn't have $30,000, $40,000 to redo or put an addition on their property, what could they tell their clients is out there to, maybe they have a lot of equity or they paid off their home already, but they don't want to touch any of that. They want to take another loan out that they can afford a couple $100 a month and pay it off rather than paying it at one time. What could they tell their clients?
So there are home improvement and second mortgages available, but usually they're at very high rates. Okay. What we often do for a client is they can purchase a home using either an FHA or what we call a Fannie Mae home style, which is a conventional rehabilitation mortgage. And what this allows you to do is this allows you to finance the repairs that you're looking to do, as long as you're using a licensed contract, non-family member, no self-help. You know, because everybody thinks they can repair everything themselves.
Everybody's a contractor.
Doesn't work that way, and the bank won't finance it. They want to see that you're dealing with a licensed contractor that you're not available to, just in case you have a fight with your cousin in the middle of the job and he walks off and leaves you with a half-constructed kitchen. So what happens is you're dealing with that licensed contractor. As long as those improvements are going to increase the value of the property, as opposed to what it is now, they'll do an appraisal with what they call the current value, the as-is value, and they'll do it subject to. There are a few extra steps involved as far as getting estimates and getting some paperwork from your contractors, maybe getting in what they call a HUD consultant, but that's to protect you. That's to make sure that you're not buying something for $150, putting $30,000 worth of work in to only have it be worth $160.
Now, Vicky asked us, as far as buying a home, and I'm going to add in here. Now, if you're a first-time home buyer and you have 20% to put down on the property, okay? Now, should you put that 20% down, or should you take advantage of the 3.5% down to keep more money in your pocket? 20% obviously will get your payments lower, but if there's anything wrong with the house, you should have some kind of liquid money is what I tell people. So as far as if I have 20% down on whatever the price of the home is, as a first-time home buyer and as a second-time home buyer, there's two questions there. Should you put the 20% down as a first-time home buyer, or if you're buying your second home, which is better to put down?
So I'm going to answer that question this way. It's a little different for each person, and my answer might be a little different based on everybody's circumstances. I don't suggest taking every penny you have and putting it towards your down payment and not having reserves. Because the minute you're in that house and all of a sudden you got a leak somewhere or something breaks, and you know, houses have appliances, houses have mechanical issues. It's just part of life. Mm-hmm. You know, and things break. They have a certain extent life expectancy period, and they're going to last a certain amount of time. So to have to make a repair on something is not unusual. You know, to have a window, you know, to have a picture window break. Mm-hmm. You know, to have a sliding glass door break. You know, all of a sudden you're looking at a couple $1,000s, and if you took every penny you had and put it towards your down payment, it's all good and fine, but you want to be able to get a new barbecue for your backyard. You want to be able to do a couple of little projects to personalize that home, make it your own. Maybe you want to repaint or do some work. So I don't personally